Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you all the books that I plan on reading in the month of May. So I'm officially done with classes as of, May 1st, so I'm really excited. I can actually kind of enjoy reading again and not have to worry about classwork and all of that stuff. So I've been very ambitious with this TBR, so I feel like it is a good mix of like historical fiction, murder mystery, and then I have a nonfiction in here as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So in the month of May, I will be hosting the kind of Diversathon, reading group that I'm a part of. So I'll have everything linked down below if you want to learn more about it. But the prompt for May is books that take place in Canada. And actually, when I was realizing this, I actually have 3 books that kind of fit this, topic. But if you guys want to participate and there's prizes and all that stuff, I'll have it linked down below if you want to go and check that out. But basically for this prompt, this is the one I picked out, not including the others too that also fit the kind of topic here. But this one is a nonfiction, and it is Terry by Douglas Coupland. And this book I read in grade 5. I was really obsessed with this. So if, for those of you who aren't Canadian, Terry Fox is a very prominent historical figure, and so during, I want to say, the 60s and 70s, 60s I want to say, he ended up losing his leg to cancer, and so he decided he wanted to run across all of Canada to raise money for cancer awareness. But tragically he ended up passing away kind of 3/4 of the way through, and this kind of talks about his journey. And so this is actually a book that we had at school, and I really loved it so much. So back in grade 5 my parents got it for me, and I haven't read it since, so that was a long time ago. But yeah, this kind of goes into it. Like, I've always really been admired by Terry Fox. Like, he's like a big deal in Canada, and so I want to kind of just refresh my memory. But he also inspired me to do my master's in orthotics and prosthetics, so I'm gonna say, yeah, this means a lot to me, and it's just a really important part of Canadian history and bravery. Like, he even is on a loonie. So like, he's a big deal in Canada, so you can find any book that takes place in Canada and be a part of it, but this is the one I wanted to read. But yeah, it's truly amazing. If you don't know who he is, like, go and check him out. There's probably like videos on YouTube about him, but he was an amazing person. And so in another book club for the Tales and Teacups book club picks for the months of May and June, I ended up picking The Paragon Hotel by Lyndsay Faye. And this is actually a book that I mentioned in one of my book hauls, I want to say my December book haul, and you guys thought this one would be, like, this sounded really interesting, so I was holding off on this to make it one of the book club picks, and I feel like now is a good time to do so. So basically, it says the year is 1921, and nobody Alice James has arrived in Oregon with a bullet wound, a lifetime's experience battling the New York Mafia, and $50,000 in illicit cash. She befriends Max, a black Pullman porter, who saves Alice by leading her to the Paragon Hotel, but her unlikely sanctuary turns out to be an all-black hotel in a Jim Crow city, and lodgers seem terrified of a white woman on the premises. As she meets the churlish Dr. Pendleton, the stately Mavern, the club chateau's Blossom Fontaine, she understands their dread. The Ku Klux Klan has arrived in Portland in fearful numbers, burning crosses, infiltrating newspapers, and brutalizing blacks, and only Alice and her new Paragon family are searching for a missing child who has vanished in the woods. To untangle the web of lies around her, Alice has to answer for her past too. So I think this one will be really interesting. I like kind of how it adds in kind of a mystery aspect, but also really focuses on the horrible treatment of blacks during the Jim Crow era, and I think it will be good to kind of show a book that highlights that and shows how kind of this mentality has been around for decades and centuries in American culture. So I think this book will kind of do a good job at shedding light on this. And so if you guys are all interested in the book club, I'll have everything linked down below for that as well. So this is the book that I am currently reading right now, and I'm almost halfway through, and it is In Her Tracks by Robert Dugoni, and this is the 8th book in the Tracy Crosswhite series that came out towards the end of April, and I'm really excited for this. Like I said, I'm a big fan of this series. I marathoned it back in 2019 when we were in Barcelona. I think I read 3 of the books when we were there, so when I think of this series, this is what that is what I think of. But basically the premise of this series, it follows Tracy Crosswhite, who is a detective in the Seattle PD, and she ended up becoming a detective because when she was in her young 20s, her sister ended up disappearing, and so that kind of changed her really kind of career path. And so she's made it her goal that people don't have to, like, people should not have to go through what she had to with her sister, and it kind of goes off from there. And because this is like the 8th installment of the series, I don't really want to talk too much about it to spoil anything, but so far this book has been really good. This is a solid author, and I love this series so much, so I'm really excited to kind of finish this. And yeah, this series is so good. So next up, this is a thriller that I think is going to be really exciting, and I think a lot of you guys will like this one as well, and it is The Next Wife by Kaira. Rouda, I think that's how you say her name, but this is a one that just actually came out on May 1st, and I'm really excited for it. So basically it's about this husband who has an affair, and it involves kind of like murder, deceit, you know, all those things between like the other woman and, you know, the original wife. And I think this one sounds really interesting, but the tagline here, which I think, you know, really sells this for me, is deception and betrayal, dark enough to end a marriage or a life. And I think that sounds really interesting. I love the kind of, you know, other woman trope and how that's kind of turned on its head here and involves revenge and betrayal and like eventually possibly murder. And so I'm always down for a new thriller, and this one sounds super interesting. So I know a lot of you guys are also fans of thrillers as well, so I think you guys will like this one as well. And lastly, these are books that also apply to books set in Canada as well, but I made it my goal in 2021 to be caught up with the Inspector Gamache series, and I think I can do this by the end of August if I really stick to it. So I have the next 2 books in this series. So I have The Long Way Home and The Nature of the Beast, and I really love this series. The last book that I read, How the Light Gets In, was honestly amazing, a 5 out of 5 star book, and I'm really curious to see the direction that this series takes after this one. So I have high expectations for this one. I think it's honestly going to be amazing. But the general premise of the story is that it follows Inspector Gamache, who is head of the homicide department in Quebec, and a lot of his murders center around a town in Three Pines, which is this quaint small town, and it really is kind of like a Stars Hollow feel, where we have the sense of found family with the town members and their unique personalities and all that stuff. But How the Light Gets In is, you can tell, was the book that the author was like building up towards over several books, and so I'm very curious to see how the series continues and all that stuff, because I was literally blown away for this. But yeah, like I said, my goal is to be caught up with this series by the end of August, and I think it is doable to do so. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of the books you'll be reading this month and all of that fun stuff, and if you'll be participating in some of the book club picks that I've mentioned in here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.